Or not last week, but week before last.
What did we do week for last? Oh, you
We
talking about?
didn't because I was hurt. Like
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh no, last week. Week before last, we just talked setup and how we wanted to roll it.
Yeah, production meeting shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that important shit.
Yeah, I enjoy that, man. I like facilitating and like seeing where the other person's head is and combining ideas to something comes together.
I agree with that. That's actually really fun for me, but it's mostly because I like seeing how other people think,
Hmm.
and I like seeing it in application to my own process. So whether we agree or disagree is a whole nother thing. But like we can argue a point today and then I'll sit and think about the topic some more. And if I agree with your points, I may change my stance. If not, however, I will take your argument to build my own argument and I will deconstruct your argument and come back. And I'm very good at it because my dad used to do it to me all the time. He would argue a point and argue it so eloquently and fluidly that you would think he really believes that. And then we would get done with the argument. He would be like, by the way, I don't agree with any of that. What you're saying is actually right in here, but he does the devil's advocate thing and he does it so well. It used to frustrate the ever living hell out of me. I love it now because I can do it if I choose to.
It's
More
an art.
often than not, I'm not gonna just because it takes more energy and effort than it's worth with most people.
Mhm.
And I live to piss people off. So I don't necessarily want to play devil's advocate unless I feel that it actually needs to be done.
The fact that you said you live to piss people,
Spite drives me.
you off the chains, man. Off the chains.
At least I'm honest about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's and that's why I'm glad to work with you on this project, which is, can we talk about it? It's your boy Sir KB, the great, the one, the only, and we're here for our pilot episode. This is something that we been drumming around in the background. We worked together several times in the Blur Syndicate, and we said, "Yo, we vibe pretty well. Let's put something together and see what we think." Because we argue a lot, right? Respectfully.
We do. Is it
Hmm?
nothing?
Uh huh. Uh huh. Uh huh. Yeah. Yeah. See, it's already starting. I appreciate this. And with this, we get to kind of have the dialogue without the pressure of being so politically correct. We can just be honest because it's just us talking. You know what I'm saying? And if you choose to stick it out, that's on you. So don't really care at the end of the day. But please comment, all that. Let us know where we're wrong and we'll argue you down. Straight up. That's what we do.
That's what matters. It doesn't matter if I'm wrong. You have to prove yourself right.
Mm. You're walking into our house, just making that known. So yeah.
Take off your shoes. Don't drag your shoes through my
Oh
house.
God. No, I believe it was Roddy Rich who said, "Bitch, don't wear no shoes in my house." So, just keeping that same energy. KB, what's our first topic of the day?
So, our first topic of the day, we gonna get into this. It's gonna be men versus intervention,
Mm.
aka, do you believe men should break up couples fights in public?
Ugh. Now, this topic is kind of a hot button topic for myself. Let me explain why. I firmly believe that there are certain aspects of being a black man that are outdated, certain perspective, certain roles that are expected of us, but I feel like they place us in harm's way. I believe in chivalry, but I believe it up to a certain point. So this was one of them. I 100% believe that no one should be placing their hands on another person. I believe no man should be placing his hands on a woman, children, all of the sort. I don't believe in it. 100% I'm against. The question I posed to KB was, if you were to see a couple fighting, should a man go and attempt to break up the fight? Now, my stance is no. I do not believe it. Once before, I did believe so. I believe that, yo, you know what I'm saying? You're a man. You need to do whatever you can to protect the other person, the victim of the circumstance, which I feel is the black woman, which is being assaulted, because protect black women at all costs. However, I've learned that sometimes placing yourself in harm's way is not the ideal task. It isn't as heroic as we think. I think sometimes involving the police, going about things that way, can preserve an already volatile. What do you think?
This one is harder for me to outright call a yes or no. This is one of those situations where I do think where nuance does matter, right? Because one, I don't think it should be the sole responsibility of men to jump into that fight, that argument, whatever have you. I don't want to sit here and say, you're the one with the penis, you do it, right? Like, placing yourself in harm's way may not be the best call, and that actually could make the situation way worse than it is currently, because you break up that fight but nobody called the cops. So now cooler heads prevailed. They get home, you don't know what's getting ready to happen because you jumped in and you saved this woman then, and you may have just condemned her later.
Right.
What could have been, a situation that maybe she would have walked away from, it may be a situation now where somebody's calling the pastor later. You feel me? So I think that intervention of others is necessary here. Call the cops. And I realize that, especially as Black people, we have a questionable relationship with cops. But in a case like this is what they're for.
Right.
And you would hope that they would do their jobs. I'm not feeling, me and you out having a great time and this couple gets into it. I'm not about to tap you. Hey. No, we're not doing that. I will also say that because the type of person that I am personally, I'm squaring up with him and I'm gonna whoop his ass. And I don't think she's going to be in very much danger after that, because you probably going to pack your things and go if my 5 foot, 120-pound frame wreck you like that.
Right.
But also, I'm trying to break your leg. So you're not going to get a chance to put your hands on her again anyway.
Another reason I brought this up is because I've witnessed situations like this. Third party got involved and they stopped fighting each other to fight the third party.
Right.
What should that third party do?
So, again, calling all things even, I'm trying to end man's whole walking career. And if she gets involved, I may not do her the same way, because it's hysterics, right? You don't really know what's going on. And for a lot of people who are, I'm hesitant to say that it's just women that it happens to, because it does happen to men. You just don't see it as often, and it doesn't get talked about in the same way. So respect to that statistic. Y'all get it. With that, a lot of people who are in those situations are at a point now where they don't know how to operate outside of that either. They also look at their aggressor as their protector and their provider. So when that type of thing is happening, it's like, oh, you may be hurting me, but now someone is actively hurting you and I have to still protect us. Yeah, it's unfortunate and it does happen. And I'm just honestly probably about to slap the hell out you. Go sit down somewhere. But my immediate action is towards the aggressor to simply stop the aggression. And I believe in meeting aggression with aggression.
And I respect that point of view. I find it hilarious that you're going for the legs. You know what?
Yeah, I'm little. So I got to get what I can reach, one. And then the other side of that coin is, because I am so small, it's definitely a part of the Napoleon complex. The thing is, I got to get you before you get me and before you can get me. So I have to not only try to hit you, I can't hit you harder. You're bigger than me. So I need a multiplier. So I need the biggest object that I can lift and maneuver, bats, bricks, whatever that looks like. But I'm also going for weak points on you, because I cannot afford for you to get me back. Feel me?
True.
So I'm taking out ankles, I'm taking out legs, I'm hitting you. This might kill you, I might go to jail. I'm going for temples. I'm going right in that area. Like, listen, we're not playing any games here. I'm 5 foot, 5'1" if I got the right shoes on.
Damn.
Right, I'm little. We're not doing this. 120 pounds. Get out of here.
You probably got to stay in when it's windy.
Listen, I do. We moved to Charlotte, and then we moved in the summer, and hurricane. See, I can't remember which one, but a hurricane rolled through right after, and I was literally walking like this in the parking lot. I hated everything about it. I was so angry. Because why would you push me like this? And I was bigger then, because my body was shaped different.
Right.
So
And
I was so mad because I was heavier then. And it's like, this is maddeningly disrespectful. I don't know what hurricane season would do to me now. I would probably end up like rolling down the street.
that wasn't a laugh. That wasn't a laugh. That wasn't a laugh.
You know that scene in Venom when he said you're gonna be an armless, legless thing just blowing in the wind?
100.
Right.
Oh, I refuse
Flailing.
to prefer to use a turd in the wind, bro. Nah, I ain't doing
Flailing, bro. Flailing. Wacky waving tube inflatable man. Help.
it. Help me, nigga. Oh,
Putting
okay.
brakes in my pocket.
See, that's how you do it. We just got to get you wearing heavier clothing or a good pair of boots. Get you some Timberland boots.
I have a pair. I have a pair of all white sandals.
Yeah, all white.
Yes, except for the sole. The sole is like a gunmetal gray.
Oh.
Got it right before Christmas last year. Shout out to my ex.
What? Oh, well, hey, salute.
Listen, we're on great terms. They've done a lot for me.
We got another topic.
We do.
And I got to sit up for this one. I was chilling. But now I got to get serious. So, black men versus therapy. Typically, we hear this topic a lot. Oh, black men get therapy. Black men get therapy. Trauma. Yeah. This week, we had an interesting turnout where a user by the name of Unusallybree, who is a clinician, in therapy, she went on a little bit of a rant on TikTok and Twitter. Kind of got her in some heat. You know what I'm saying? Got her some. It went viral. Got her some good look. If you're not familiar with what she looks like, this is her. This is part of the aftermath of what happened. Black America responds to therapists who scolds black men for not going to therapy. There were some consequences. Now, before we get to judging, anything that occurred or our thoughts on the matter, I want to play a minute and 3 seconds of the viral clip. Here we go.
A couple days ago, Psychology Today released this article about the rise of lonely single men.
Please, with all your spirit gusto, go click back on that video. I've been telling y'all motherfuckers that y'all are going to be single for the rest of your fucking life if you do not increase your emotional communication skills, emotional intelligence, or any of these things. The Psychology Today article that my good sis is referencing is nothing but proof that these podcast alpha male bullshit ass father issue heaven ass motherfuckers is forcing y'all to a lifetime of singleness. I keep seeing on this bullshit ass app that women have these poor attitudes and all this other bullshit when men truly just need to extend their emotional vocabulary so they can flourish and have meaningful, healthy relationships. But instead, y'all listening to these Kevin Samuel ass motherfuckers and it's leaving you 50 and alone. Fix it.
She went into detail in a few other clips and I wouldn't feel right going and downloaded her entire library to show the entire argument. Primarily what happened was she was just speaking on her thoughts on the condition of black men and the urgency or the lack thereof of us going to therapy. You can kind of see what kind of tone she took in these videos. And unfortunately, she went viral and a few people had some things to say. A few articles were written about it because it was viewed as toxic, the way she approached the topic matter, given the sensitivity of it. And unfortunately, one of the articles that were written about the situation actually doxed her. And to those of you who don't know what doxing is when someone exposes your workplace, your home location, your home address via the internet, usually with the intent to harass you or get you fired. And that's exactly what happened. There was a shareholders meeting through her work, and she was let go, I believe, at the end of that week. The video came out Monday. She was fired by Friday. People are divided on this topic. And to make matters worse, the person who wrote the article was a black woman. How do you feel about her message and what she was saying and what occurred? Just what do you think?
I'm going to start with the easiest part. That's probably going to ruffle the most feathers. I don't have an issue with the company firing her. The reason that I don't have the issue, however, I do not think they were right. I simply don't have an issue with it because at the end of the day, we're pretty much holding to the same standard of white people doing certain things and also getting fired, not necessarily saying the most racist of things. A lot of them are and deserve that. But some of them are kind of towing lines. They're saying things that may be perceived disrespectful, but may not have been meant to be disrespectful, whatever have you. And if we're going to sit here and say that these companies are right to do that and to protect their perception and their image, then you got to have it this way too. You cannot sit and pick and choose when that benefits you, because that's been part of the problem, is that the people in power are picking and choosing, and we didn't like it. So we're saying, hey, you got to have ownership and accountability here. Then everybody's got to have the same standard. So this is the standard we want to set. Then unfortunately, when cases like this happen, you also have to follow the standard. I'm sorry, it is what it is. The next piece, I don't disagree with her message. And I also don't disagree with her delivery of it, because I think sometimes you do have to meet people where they are. The language that she used in the video is literally no different than how a lot of us talk to our friends on a regular basis. If you watch some of the other clips, she refers to women as bitches. Why? Because a lot of men call women bitches, and she's talking to men. So she's speaking in a language that a lot of y'all use every day. And I say y'all not for men, but women in general. Hey, bitch, did you hear this? Man, look, my bitch is crazy. So again, she is speaking the way that, the people who she's talking to on a regular basis speak. She wasn't in a professional setting speaking to you in this way. She is dressed down. She is in her home. So she's not speaking to you as the clinician. She's speaking to you as a person who happens to be in that occupation from 8 to 5. And this happens to be 6:30. So she's speaking to you like y'all about to go get a drink or y'all having dinner. I don't have an issue with that. I got an issue with the platform that you put this out here on, and then not expecting that there will be consequence for your action. I don't necessarily agree with the consequence. I understand the consequence. I don't think she should have been doxxed, but I understand why the job moved the way they did, because perception matters, and there's so much heat on this now that your client base is looking at it like, is this how we're going to be talked to when we come in here? Because I don't expect you to talk to me the way that my homies talk to me. And I know for a fact men will talk to other men like this. Why? Because most of my friends are men, and a lot of them tend to forget that I'm not one when I'm in the room, because I don't ever say nothing. That's how a lot of men talk. Pick up a headset and listen to them when they on 2K. And again, I feel like she's speaking in a way that people hear her. She's not wrong. A lot of men don't have great emotional depth. A lot of men want to blame women for their lack of emotional depth. We do it too. It goes both ways, right? But I can tell you, how many times have I heard, it's the type of man that you choose. They don't talk to me because I don't date nobody. You always go for this type of man. Maybe you should broaden your horizons. You should do this and you should do that. All right, cool. But when y'all are complaining about the women that y'all pull, y'all don't think that the same applies? Y'all don't have that same logic? The brain is not braining. So I think that that's kind of where my line is with it. I agree with what she's saying. I don't necessarily have an issue with the delivery of it, because she's meeting people where they need to be met at. And sometimes y'all got to be yelled at and cussed out to do what you're supposed to do. Not men, but people in general. Sometimes I have to be yelled at and cussed at to do what I need to do. Sometimes I need somebody to talk to me. You're being fucking stupid. It happens.
There's a few sentiments that you hit that I agree with, man. First things first, I'm not shocked that she got let go as a business owner. Like you said, perception is everything. And one of the arguments I've heard before is that Black women are not allowed to talk like Black men in these spaces. We get attacked, we get accused of harming people just because they're not comfortable, but we're literally doing what men are doing. Correct, you are. But you are doing it on a public platform where you are exposing not only yourself, but your profession. When you open those doors, you are opening those doors, if you know what I mean. I hated that it happened. I don't think it's going to hinder her for too long. Let me explain what I mean. She has an audience. I fully feel she's going to embrace that audience that wants to hear what she has to say. I think this is a blessing in disguise. Nobody wants to be fired publicly. Nobody wants to be blacklisted or seen as a black sheep in their career field, because you went to school for this. You went in debt for this. So I do embrace the idea that this gives her a lane for creativity, for her to be her own entity. And I'm going to say something controversial. But hear me out. She gets to be her own proper version of Kevin Samuels. Let me explain what I mean. Kevin Samuels was spitting rhetoric that nobody should follow. And a lot of people watched because they, quote unquote, received the bullshit and kept the nugget. Well, with her, because so many people are outraged, because so many people want her canceled, they're going to support her harder. So she gets to be the example of what someone should say, what a Kevin Samuels should have per se. She gets to build on that and do it the right way. I hope she doesn't change her cadence. I hope she keeps going the way she's going, but I hope she understands now that there will always be an audience for someone speaking what they feel is the truth, regardless of what they feel that truth is, regardless of how they deliver it, regardless of how toxic it may be. Please understand, for the sake of relating to the next individual, that sometimes people will follow you because you feel so righteous in what you're speaking. That's all. I'm not championing Kevin Samuels. No, I vehemently was against what he was doing, but I get how he got big. I get why people followed him. It's because you play to a particular audience and you do it wholeheartedly. You go full force. I just pray she remains in the building side of it. It doesn't delve into a tearing down of anybody.
And I feel like I'll be honest. I think that there is going to be a tearing down, and I don't think that it's intentional. I think it's a part of the human process, right? Because she's going to be, even if she is trained, you're still human, and there's going to be that element of I got fired trying to help y'all out, and now this is how I feel. I think that process, because I mean, I haven't watched the clip, but apparently there was one where she was like, you know, y'all talk about wanting to protect Black women, and then y'all turn around and dox a Black woman. For real, that's where we're at. But with that being said, that was the clip in the font that was over top of her video, and I have not watched it yet. Because she released several, like you said, it was several of those clips where she was championing Black men getting therapy and basically saying, you know, y'all haven't been the way that some people feel attacked and feel oppressed. You haven't really had to be in that mode for a minute. It hasn't really been expected of you socially in a minute. It's been expected of you because of how you view yourself. And that's a very important distinction. Like me and somebody were talking the other day about the perception of men and women and roles and things like that. And one of the things he said that really bothered me was that I said that I did not need a man for protection. And he was like, you know, equating a man to a gun, that's where we're going with this. And I was like, well, pause. I never equated men to weapons. Me saying I don't need a man for protection isn't reducing you to anything. It's saying that I don't need you to fulfill this role for me. I never said not having you was a thing. I never said I didn't want it. I said it is not a necessity, and I don't view Black men as my protectors. I simply don't. I don't view men in general as my protectors. I don't have to. I was taught how to protect myself from both of my parents. So it's never been a necessity for me. But he was like, you know, saying that you can protect yourself just as well as, you know, your man in and of itself is a slight to him. And I was like, how? How is that a slight to you? And if you really perceive that to be the case, can we talk about that? Can we talk about why you feel that your role is nothing more than that? Because I'm not cool with that at all. And that's part of the issue is, you know, yes, men are pigeonholed into certain roles just like women are, right? But who made those roles in the first place? Who assigned those roles? And who perpetuates the idea that this is all y'all are worth in the first place? It's not just women saying this is all that you're worth. This is also other men telling men this is all you are worth, which can get heavy, gets frustrating. And that's what breeds people like Kevin Samuels. It's what breeds, you know, Mr. Potato Head Man. What is that man's name? The MMA dude. Nah, not him. The skinny white boy. It just got kicked off tape.
Oh, Andrew Tate.
Like, that's what gives rise to those type of men, because they're talking about the fact that they're pigeonholed into these roles and they don't necessarily feel they should have to be, but at the same time, I've got muscles and I'm an alpha. Alpha men don't exist. That whole premise that you built it off of was wrong, and the scientist who founded it with the wolves admitted that he was wrong, tried to stop the publication. It ran anyway. Next, your whole existence is out.
Interesting point, man. I really hope that Unusallybree continues to be positive, because I ain't gonna lie, I went and watched her most recent videos, and yeah, some of them are a little bit more intense. I won't say she's lashing out, but she feels a way, as she should. You know what I'm saying? I just hope it doesn't change her content. It doesn't taint the good message that she was giving, because she was saying some real shit. She was
Right.
telling niggas, hey, stop fucking with them dusty bitches. Like,
Exactly.
for real, they hurting you.
Listen, go, everyone, find a therapist that fits what you need first and foremost. Because again, sometimes you don't have the right therapist, and the way that they approach their methods or whatever don't work for you and what you need in order to grow. I went through 2 before I found the one that I like to unstill. I went through 3 that I had here that I wasn't feeling, and I'm not with one right now, but I will be getting back to it. Everyone, do yourself a favor. Get help. Get it, seek it, find it, continue it. Everyone, but especially for Black men, because the world does not love you. There are individuals who love you. There are. I'm not saying that you are not worthy of love. I'm saying that the world at large is going to treat you better than it treats me, but still very bad. And with that being said, do the work, because it will make that load a little lighter. You as a man are much more likely to find a woman who has at least been in therapy or is willing to go before I will find a man doing the same. Get help. Love yourself enough to get the fucking help, please.
Since we're on the topic of loving yourself, I'm trying to get good at this segue shit, man. I'm trying to do my thing here.
We in there. It definitely sound like you were talking about a vibrator.
I mean, if there's a sponsorship out there that I need to goddamn sell some shit, I mean, please.
Adam and Eve. Look us up.
We out here. On God. DMs is open. So
I'm not doing product reviews.
how do you love / how do you receive love? Now, this topic is talking about the 5 love languages. Now, if you know anything about me, if you heard anything I've worked on, I love this topic. I think is very interesting. I think in relation to the idea of your love language being the inverse of what trauma you've experienced up to this point is an interesting theory. But I'm also into understanding how people think, how they receive, how they express, much like art. So, KB, let me ask you, have you taken the love languages exam?
I did take that test. I took it a few years. I took it actually before I moved up here. So it's been about 4 or 5 years. And I agree with the results.
Why'd you roll your eyes though?
Because my results, if you know me, are not surprising in the least. But I think one of the big things is I don't think that people give love languages the proper respect that they deserve. Like they're kind of getting lumped in with astrology almost, in which a lot of people aren't giving it the backing that it deserves.
Okay.
And they're not giving it the depth. They're doing, oh, it's a fun little quiz, babe, take this with me. And they're not understanding like the actual principles of what's at play. And there's some really important things to remember when it comes to your love language. How you love, how you receive love, but also how your partner loves and needs to receive love. And all of those principles, if you're going to be with someone, have to come into play. And yes, some of them are more detrimental to than others if they are not handled properly, which is a good reason why a lot of relationships fall apart, because y'all don't understand the damage that it can do to not love your partner in the way that they need to be loved.
Very well spoken. Very well. So not to be all up in your business, but I'm about to be all up in your business.
Of course.
What I want to hear what your order love languages are from greatest to least. And I'll do the same. I ain't gonna leave you hanging.
You know what? Let's switch this up a little bit, just
Oh,
because in order to pull the results, I would have to go back through the email now.
okay.
Because like I said, I did this years ago. I know what I feel that they are, but in order to be truly honest, I got to pull the results up. Do yours first.
Okay. Now I will say this though. Let me make this disclaimer. I think it's good to take this exam every couple years because you grow and your experiences change, and therefore you change a little bit. And given your idea of dating or lack thereof, whatever you've been doing is going to shape how you receive things. You know, so that surprised me was a shift in the last 2 3 years of my love languages. My big three really shifted around. They jumbled in order. The very first thing was acts of service. Number one. Now, look, to those of you who hear acts of service, they are not, how do I put this? Fix me a plate of food, iron my clothes, make me a lunch. No, 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 no. Acts of service for me is helping me plan a project, helping me accomplish a goal. It doesn't necessarily have to be you lifting a finger, it could be you providing me tools, whether it be reading materials, whether it be a recommendation, anything of the sort to help facilitate me achieving a goal because it makes me feel as if I can come to you. You are dependable if there's a task that needs to be completed. You are essentially dependable. My second one was words of affirmation. I'm a person who lives in my head a lot, suffering from anxiety and depression. I constantly create scenarios in my mind whenever something doesn't go according to plan or if someone goes radio silent. I make all these scenarios with the worst possible ending in my mind. And it's a defense mechanism so I won't be shocked if one of those are true. It's basically me trying to predict a grim future and not having faith in the person. But so whenever I get this confirmation that I'm on the right path, or you believe in me, or you believe in what's going on, or just giving me a little bit more gas to go through my mental tank means the world to me. And I'm gonna wrap these last three up. Quality time, self-explanatory. I want to be around you. I don't have to be all up in your face, but within arm's reach or within the same vicinity means something to me. We may not be able to do something physically together, but for instance, I'll give an example. I like to paint and I like to write. You don't have to be painting and writing with me, but if you're near me doing work or just might be cooking or you might be goddamn just playing a game or something, you might be typing a paper. Just me being in your vicinity gives me that warmth of companionship. Now, my two least, physical touch and receiving gifts. So, physical touch is a trauma response, and receiving gifts is also a trauma response. It's because I've unfortunately have had people buy gifts and then use that as a weapon to justify something I need to do for them. It's just a tactic in order to owe a favor. So, yeah, those are mine. Those are my five. So, what about you?
Okay. Because you said you're a fan of retaking the test, I kind of want to take it now, but I wanted to make sure I was listening to you, which is why I did not take it. But because the email is actually it's 5 years old, so that's the last time I took it.
Time.
I haven't been in a real like heavily physical relationship in about 7 or 8.
Okay.
So that's kind of where the line was because I do have a recent relationship I was in, but we were not going anywhere and we knew that. So it's a different sort of dynamic for me there, which is why I just haven't taken it because my feelings on a lot of that have not changed very much.
Mm.
So, and that's why I say like knowing how you show and how you receive are two completely different things, which is why I think this test does need to be taken in different ways. Because speaking in all honesty, the way that I show love is actually gift giving. I am someone who I will see something and it makes me think of you, and I'm like, I need to get this for you. You know, if my financial standing is where it needs to be at the time, and you know, hey, I really want this football game. Well, guess what? I'm probably about to buy you this one and another game, or just something to occupy your time because I know that that makes you smile. If you play music, you know, what do you need? Do you need upkeep for your instrument? Do you need this? Do you need that? Like that is how I show my love, is in doing and giving the gifts and things like that. And it also ties into acts of service as well,
Mm.
because I'm very big on, you know, did you eat today? Have you had a nap? How are you feeling? What do you need? That sort of thing. I am a nurturing-ish type of person that really, if you know me well enough, you know that that's true. Not
Mm.
knowing me, you might not believe that a word of what I just said. But I, in terms of being loved, don't buy me anything. Do not give me gifts because I panic. Why are you giving me this? What do you want from me with this? What do I now owe you? Which is in
Mm.
direct conflict with how I show love. They are complete opposite. Do not buy nothing for me. I don't want you to. I don't want you to spend your, don't do it. I don't even like for people to do things for my birthday. And
Mm.
that's not a trauma response. My parents and my family were all about celebrating you and doing things for you and never holding it against you or over your head. I don't know where it came from. I just hate everything about it.
Mm.
Um, I hate to be touched. Do not touch me. Physical touch is dead last. Like if you touch me and I don't know you're getting ready to, two things will happen. I will either like panic or I'm swinging. Just don't touch me. Or
Mm.
like, and again, if you let me know, if you telegraph your touch before you do it, it's a whole nother thing, because I understand that most people are like people are tactile by nature. I
Right.
simply am not one of them. Don't touch me. But if, hey, can I have a hug? I'll give you a hug. And I'm notoriously different with like kids because kids don't understand boundaries.
Right.
So if you've ever seen me interact with kids, you would never think that I have such a hard line with touch, because kids don't understand. So I'm not about to sit here and fuss at them for it. Go ahead, get it out the way, hug me. Can you let go now, please? Like, but when it comes to like grown people, nah, respect my bubble. Don't make me hurt you. And that's been a big issue with relationships,
Mm.
because most people want to at least hold your hand. They want to quality time, though. That one is a big one for me. That's how you can show me that you love me and care about me. Because like you said, I don't need you to necessarily talk to me and be up under me. I don't need all that. But I, you know, if I'm reading a book, I would like you to just be in the area. You can cook dinner, you can play a game. We don't have to really interact physically or verbally. I just need your presence in my space. That soothes my
Mm.
soul. That's very, very comforting to me. So quality time is definitely a big one. Words of affirmation are a very big one. I have a lot of noise in my head constantly and consistently. My brain is never quiet. Even when I sleep, there's a thousand things running through there. It's like a supercomputer that actually isn't doing any work. So
Mm.
it's one of those situations in which, you know, I have a lot of confidence, but I also have doubt in equal measure. I am consistently and constantly working against myself. So having that person who's like, I'm proud of you. You did good today. You know, hey, this looks really great. Hey, that's not like that. That does a lot for me. It goes a long way. And I'm very shy and bashful about it. So
Oh.
I don't call it to attention that I'm shy and bashful, because then it gets worse.
Do you turn red in the face and all that?
I do. I am just light enough to blush. Like I'm just at that line where I'm not dark enough so you can actually see it, and my ears will turn red. It's the worst. Yeah,
Oh, that's what's up.
and
I,
it's not. I hate it.
oh, it's okay. You can be bashful, man. That's dope. There's nothing
Hate
wrong
it.
with it.
Hate it.
Uh,
Because here's the thing. Like, I am not easily embarrassed unless you
mm.
know how to embarrass me.
Mm.
Like, you can do. You know how like some people don't want to be in public with you because you're embarrassing. That does not bother me at all. I don't like attention, but if attention gets called to me, it is what it is. Let's go. I'll deal with the back end of it later, but we gonna show out right here, right now. Let's do it. But if you genuinely compliment me, nah, I'm good. Turn it off. Turn it off. Why are you doing this? No. And I'm not gonna argue the compliment. I'm just gonna be like, yeah, all right, you can have your opinion. That's fine.
Oh, I've heard you say that before.
Yeah. Like,
and I think that's key to not only like relationships, like where you intend to marry or dating, whatever it may be, but I think it applies to platonic relationships as well. I think this conversation needs to happen a lot more.
It absolutely does, because I think that it strengthens your friendships. Like, you know how your friends respond to love, when you know how your friends need to be loved, it makes their life so much easier. And one of the things that weirds me out with people is that we tend to forget that we're very dynamic, very complex creatures. We are not just a single, for lack of better terms, black and white, like neutrality and all of that. No, there's a lot of nuance, there's a lot of gray, there's a lot of depth and flavor and body to us. So with my friends, you know, like knowing that words of affirmation are something that's important to you, you know, I try to do more of letting you know I appreciate you. I try to do that with all of you guys. And you can say that that's like a basic humanities thing, and sure it is, but when you know that that is your friend's way of being loved and speaking life into them, I think that is absolutely something that needs to happen more. There needs to be more platonic I love yous, especially, no offense, and I don't want to sound like I'm bashing, but especially among men. I think y'all need that, because women, we tend to get it. We do. Like, I'm not saying that life loves us more, but life does treat us differently. And people tend to, while they will take advantage of and abuse and misuse women, it's also a lot quicker for us to get affirmations than you guys.
I agree. And a lot of it is the masculinity, you know, interfering with that nurturing need that everybody has. We all need gas in our tank, as I call it. You know, we have to put aside the bravado, the macho bullshit, and sometimes when your brother goes for a hug, just say thank you. You know, pouring in people's cups is an amazing thing, especially when it's genuine, because you get to speak from your soul, and when it's genuine, it definitely feels like an exchange, and bonds are strengthened with that, man. You know, so I don't know who's gonna hear this or who has, but keep it up. Let somebody know that you love them, even if they feel like you're up to something. Just let them know. Just let them know, man. But that's it. This has been your boy, Sir KB Killer. You already know. This has been Can We Talk About It? Episode 0/1. We ain't decided yet. But I do know this.
We know that much.
Exactly. Took the words right out of my mouth. And we are out. Peace.
Oops.